It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Newell, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. But for those of you who do know me, you know that that's not why we're always here, right? Guys, today's one of those days. Today we are here to talk about Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewives of Potomac, but before we do, you know how this works. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and also hit that notification bell. That way you guys don't miss anything that we have coming up, okay? So guys, it just came out that Wendy Osefo, Dr. Wendy Osefo to be correct, of the Real Housewives of Potomac is $1.5 million in debt, allegedly, due to her expensive lifestyle in Potomac. Guys, that's not exactly why I think she would be in debt, but let's get into this and kind of see what's going on. Now, according to an article in the Showbiz Cheat Sheet, as well as a few other articles that blogs have already picked up, Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband are over 7 figures in debt. So what does that mean exactly, and why would that be the case? So what they're saying is that the many jobs that Dr. Wendy Osefo has, whether it's a political commentator, a housewife, a professor, or everything in between, it's not quite as high paying as we would necessarily assume. Now, we do know, guys, that the housewives do not make a lot of money right out of the gate. I think it was reported it was between $30,000 or $60,000. Right off the top of my head, I don't know, that Leah McSweeney made for her first season on the Real Housewives of New York. Now, if that's the case, guys, we know Dr. Wendy Osefo and Potomac, it doesn't quite hit the New York rating, so maybe she's not even making what Leah McSweeney made. I mean, obviously, when the first-time housewives come in, they put a lot on the line in order to secure their spot. And once they secure said spot, that's when the money starts rolling in, right? So maybe that's exactly what Dr. Wendy Osefo is trying to do. But what I want to say is that the article that was posted on the Showbiz Cheat Sheet stating that they're $1.5 million in debt, it's kind of painting Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband as if they're broke and that they're spending kind of Teresa Giudice money on all of the finer things in life to get by. Now, that's not what I assume is happening. I honestly assume that each one of them have 4 degrees, and this has to be student loans, especially because they're going to top-notch universities. Obviously, guys, it's going to be so quick for people to speculate and assume that Dr. Wendy Osefo is broke and that she is trying so hard to keep up with the other women of Potomac, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Again, this is why. Now, guys, the average student loan debt is more than $30,000 a student, and then obviously that varies by the college that they are going to. So add that up and then add 4 degrees, times that by 2, 8 degrees, and obviously there's going to be debt there. So I think that we're just completely jumping the gun on this situation. I don't think that this is due to some extravagant lifestyle that Dr. Wendy Osefo cannot afford. Now, we do know that in 2019, Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband bought a house in June, as reports say, in June of 2019 for $645,000. Now, allegedly, they used 2 loans to finance said house, but honestly, who cares? If they bought the house, they live in the house, and they're paying off the house, then whose business is that? Why is this even a report or a question as if they're broke? That isn't the case. They're both working. So if they're both working and they're paying off student loans and school debt, I don't understand why this is even a topic that people are attacking Dr. Wendy Osefo after. Now, obviously, there are people who have it out for Dr. Wendy Osefo because they went in to say that Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband were renting for over 8 years until production expressed a little bit of interest into the couple, wanting them to be on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Now, if that is the case, what they're saying is that after 8 years of renting, that really kind of lit the fire under their butt, making them want to become homeowners and purchase an actual casa. My favorite part of this story is that insiders or whoever is giving this information to these blogs, they're saying that Dr. Wendy Osefo is really trying to brag about how successful she is when she's really not. Guys, just because somebody is in student loan debt or has a little bit of debt doesn't mean that they're not successful. It means that they're paying off their debt that got them to the point that they are today. Obviously, if she's a political commentator and a professor, along with many other things, she wouldn't have gotten to that place without an education, and that education is going to cost money unless you have scholarships out out the wazoo. And I think that's completely fair to say. But the fact that somebody is trying to take this, diminish them as a couple, and say that, they're not as successful as they say, they don't make any money, and that, her husband's a lawyer who hasn't gone to trial in X amount of years, or any years, as a matter of fact, allegedly is what they're saying. It's like, okay, go reach on somebody else. If I were Dr. Wendy Osefo, I honestly would print, scan, and add my 4 degrees to my About Me on my Instagram. I mean, she's already added it to her Housewife profile and just really shoved it in everybody's face saying, this is what I have, my life is okay, and if I have $1.5 million in student loan debt, I'll pay for it. Honestly, guys, if you remember back to Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, she had an overwhelming amount of debt too, that she came out of jail and immediately got to work and started to pay off. She got herself way out of debt, completely crawled out of the hole, and she's back on top. So for us to be sitting here speculating that Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband are not on the right track, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think that Dr. Wendy Osefo is brilliant in her own right. Sure, I think that there's moments on the Real Housewives of Potomac that we don't love her, but I'm not going to sit here and break a woman down. That's ridiculous, especially her husband. Honestly, I don't have that level of education. I don't have 4 degrees. I don't have 8 degrees within my home. I mean, just to be fair. And I don't own a $645,000 house. So with that being said, what can we really say? Why are we so quick to judge her? She's not judging other people on the Real Housewives of Potomac. And I know you guys are going to rip me apart over this. I mean, when she attacks Karen for the simple fact that Karen said, "Doctor of what? Doctor of who?" Listen, guys, I love Karen, but obviously that's going to raise red flags with Dr. Wendy Osefo, and she's going to put her ears up and say like, okay, girl, you want to go at it? You want to talk about my doctorate? Want to see where I come from? And she's going to explain herself. It's a part of the storyline, and you have to also remember with the producer's cap on, they put a lot of emphasis on when another housewife approaches or says something about them so they can carry out the storyline. We do have to remember, guys, there is a show to be filmed here. There are storylines to be had. This does have a level of pre-production, and that is reality television. So for us to be jumping on here and completely ripping apart Dr. Wendy Osefo, I'm not going to be a part of that. I still think she's amazing. Honestly, great for you and your 8 degrees within your household. And I think she's going to be out of her $1.5 alleged million student debt before we know it. Honestly, guys, those housewife paychecks will eventually add up. And just to be fair, I don't see her going anywhere. Even though some of you guys don't like her, I don't see her going anywhere. So with all of that, I'm so excited to see what's to come. Honestly, Dr. Wendy Osefo, we are just pushing you up there. We love you. I think that you're going to do amazing. She's going to be out of the debt before she knows it. And honestly, we shouldn't rip down people with an education. We should praise them and just kind of show them love. She's a mother to a baby that had health issues. She also has so many jobs. She has so many other things on her plate. I think that you guys can find a lot of other things to talk about. But I did want to do this story only because I have to kind of back her up a little bit. I'm in Dr. Wendy Osefo's corner. I don't know if you guys are. I can't wait to hear from you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you comment below. Let me know, do we care about Dr. Wendy Osefo's $1.5 alleged million in student debt? Or is somebody just reaching for a story? Guys, I love you so much. Go ahead and comment below and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching Up and Adam.